In this video, you'll learn everything you need to know to get started with Git. If you are a beginner or want to learn Git for your programming projects, you are at the right place. You're going to learn all the fundamental concepts and terms you need to know to get started. So without further ado, let's get started. First, let's see what Git is. Git is a modern open-source distributed version control system and source code management system used to manage files easily. Didn't understand? Let's take an example to understand exactly what is Git and why it is useful. Let's consider the idea that you and your friend are collaborating on a revolutionary project. The Monopoly game is what you've chosen to do instead of just a calculator. You know that a Monopoly game consists of cards, houses, hotels, a money pack, pieces, etc. So, you and your friend decided to develop some functions and features individually, while some by doing pair programming. You started developing houses functions while your friend started with hotels functions. You send each other your part of the code by email or other methods. Things worked perfectly for some time. But after a while merging both codes, you realize the code isn't functioning for some reason. You have searched all the code and haven't found the problem. Hence, both of you decided to roll back to the last version, but unfortunately, neither of you controlled the version of the project. Therefore, you couldn't do a rollback. This is where Git could have saved you time and effort. Using Git, you can manage your system's version. Because Git tracks changes in the project files, you can collaborate on those files with multiple people as all changes are tracked. Git tracks every type of file. Additionally, since you keep all the history of your files, you can roll back to a specific part of your project, usually, the last part that worked. Version control systems fall into two categories, centralized and distributed. Using a centralized system, all team members can share their changes with others and get the latest copy of the code from a central server. CVS, Subversion, or SVN, and Perforce are examples of centralized version control systems. With a centralized architecture, if the server goes down, we cannot collaborate or save snapshots of our projects, so we have to wait until it comes back online. Distributed systems, however, do not pose these problems since every team member has a copy of the project with its history so that we can save snapshots of our project locally. During an outage of the central server, we can synchronize directly with others. Popular distributed version control systems are Git and Mercurial. Git is the most popular one. Here are a few ways to use Git. The first is the most common method, using Git through the terminal or command line. It's the fastest and preferred method of using Git, as it gives more control over the workflow compared to other GUI or code editors. The second method is through a graphical user interface. Graphical user interface clients are tools that provide alternative visualization for Git. Some of the popular Git GUI are SourceTree, GitKraken, and GitHub Desktop. SourceTree simplifies how you interact with your Git repositories so you can focus on coding. It's available for Windows and Mac OS, while GitKraken is a truly cross-platform app as it's available for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. GitKraken is free for personal projects and charges a fee for commercial projects. GitHub Desktop is another free GUI tool that simplifies your Git workflow. It's free and available for Windows and Mac OS. The third method to use Git is through code editors and IDS. Modern code editors like VS Code, Atom have built-in support for Git. You can also install additional extensions to the code editors to bring in extra Git features. Now that we know about different ways to use Git, let's look at different hosting services for Git repositories. Some of the popular Git repository hosting services are GitHub, GitLab, and Bitbasket. GitHub being the most known and used among the others. While we will be looking at GitHub along with some Git commands in the latter part of this video series, it is necessary that you understand what it represents. Let's get familiar with Git terminologies and workflow now. What is a repository? A Git repository is nothing but a collection of source code. Git easily makes changes to the code and makes sure you are working on an updated original copy of the code. Let's make this easier. A Git repository is a .git folder where the history of files are stored. As we know, Git is a version control system, VCS. Now, there has to be a place where this needs to be stored. That specific place is termed a repository. A Git repository can be of two types, a bare repository and a non-bare repository. Bare repository. A bare repository is created without a working tree. They are supposed to be used on a server for sharing changes coming from different developers. Such repositories do not allow the user to modify local files and to create new versions for the repository based on these modifications. Non-bare, regular repository. It is the default Git repository. This allows you to create new changes by modifying files or creating new versions in the repository. What's a working tree? A working tree or workflow in a Git repository is the collection of files originating from a certain version of the repository. Every Git repository has a working tree. The files in the working tree may be new or based on a certain version from the repository. The user can change and create files or delete them. Let us learn what a working tree is in Git. There are 4 basic elements in a Git working tree. They are working area or working directory, staging area, local repository, head, and remote repository, master. We can better understand this with a flowchart. As you can see here, the chart is divided into 4 sections with each element of the Git working tree. Why not look at each element in detail? First, the working area. It's a place where you work with files and make changes to them. Next is staging area. Here, you are ready to add the changes you've made but not yet committed. Then comes local repository. In this, you commit a new version of the change to your local repository. Lastly, remote repository. In this stage, you push the changes made to a remote server, for e.g., GitHub. To add a file from the working directory to the staging area, we use the git command git add. Next, we use the git commit command used to add all files that are staged to the local repository. In the next step, git push is a command used to add all committed files in the local repository to the remote repository. So in the remote repository, all files and changes will be visible to anyone with access to the remote repository. Now, to get files directly from a remote repository to a working area, we use the git pull command. Alternatively, we can use git fetch and git merge to pull files from the remote repository. Git fetch is a command used to get files from the remote repository to the local repository but not into the working directory. Git merge is a command used to get the files from the local repository into the working directory. As of now, we have an understanding of Git terminology and Git workflow. In the next video, we will take you through the installation process and share how to use Git commands and an overview of GitHub. If you like this video, please consider sharing it with others. Comment below if you have any questions or doubts related to the topic. We'll try to reply and clear them as soon as possible. Thanks for watching.